So I'm going to show you, these dates are important. Okay, so you see that this was served to me, so they filed the first petition on November 6th, 2023, 2 days after Martha came to town, after they invited Martha to come to town. They filed the first petition on November 6th. They closed the case and recommended in-home services on November 15th. Yes, let me back up. November 4th, Martha came to town. November 6th, they filed the first petition. Our first court date was November 14th, in which I was served this subpoena to come back and appear on December 12th. However, the very day after this subpoena was given, they closed the case and recommended in-home services. And what that means is that they found that there was no abuse or neglect or dependency. They just recommended services to help Maura and I, after the situation, she was screaming outside, to help, basically to help us reconnect, help gain her trust back in me after, my mom and her father and grandmother told her to go scream outside, stuff like that, basically. So I should have returned back into my home, but Martha Kaczynski, the person who DSS invited to come here to be the temporary safety provider, wouldn't leave the home, her and Mark, after being asked. And they were not only asked by me, but they were asked by Stallings Police as well. They refused. So DSS decided that they messed up, that they would just keep going for me and for my daughter when it was their mess up. But here's the thing. So they served this to me on November 14th. Again, they closed the case the next day. But if you see here, they already knew that the next court date was going to be December 12th. Well, it's interesting because on December 8th, they filed, let me go here, okay, that's the one that's not highlighted. That's just page 2 of the subpoena. Oh, that's the laws. Okay, that's later. Okay, so on December 8th, they decided to take my daughter ex parte or non-secure, basically take her into foster care. But the court date was going to be December 12th. So they already knew on November 15th that they were going to close the case, but that they were going to reopen a new case, file a new petition, have it signed by Magistrate Nick Riggins on December 8th for Judge Hucks, and that this was going to continue. That's not how child welfare works, okay? They're supposed to help parents make changes, not railroad parents. Also, so this is December 8th. The court date for this was, I think, maybe December 11th. I was not invited to that court date. My attorney did it and didn't tell me about it, talking about more Nike O'Malley. And Mr. Underwood, Doug Underwood, never told me about the court date, but I think they did the non-secure on 12/11. On 12/12, oh, that's just not the highlighted color. Oh, that's not the highlighted one. Okay, here we go. On 12/12, in walks Kristen Clark, Maura's guardian ad litem, who was the biggest shit stirrer in all this. I mean, she's the one who said that my daughter told her that I threatened to rape her with a pole. Or, as she put, shove a pole up my daughter's vagina. Okay, now this woman is a lesbian. This woman, so that's scary to me, just because my daughter doesn't use those words. There you go. My daughter doesn't use those words. She put those dirty, nasty words in my daughter's mouth, and she was supposed to be her guardian ad litem and protecting her. She did none of that. Okay, so here's this. On December 12th, they're recommending, see there, filed December 12th. They're recommending a guardian ad litem for my daughter. And December 14th is when they said that I was unable to understand court proceedings. I was also not invited to that court date. So all these things were going on behind, like, I guess you could say it like ex parte, without courtroom appearances, without being in the courtroom, without having me with my due process, showing up and being able to defend myself or say anything. So that's why, Martha, Red, and Emma were just able to say, oh yeah, Kelly's just like off, being a drug addict somewhere. She's just off in a hole. Meanwhile, I'm like in a motel room freaking out, calling my family, like asking what's going on. Nobody would tell me anything. I mean, it was horrible. I was literally losing my mind. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. But this right here shows you that this case was predetermined. And again, the whole purpose of child welfare is to help parents learn better ways to parent. If there's a problem going on, I mean, I'm not saying that if there's child abuse going on and children are like getting harmed, those parents should be prosecuted for like child abuse charges, like criminally, right? But there was no abuse, there was no neglect, there was no dependency. They made this all up. And you can tell because let me go back, where is it? Oops, back. November 14th, when they served this to me, they already knew. See that? 12/12. They already knew what they were going to do. They knew they were going to file another petition because, like I said, November 15th, the day after this petition, the case was closed in DSS. So this was all 100% the courts, the attorneys, DSS, all involved. Now on November 15th, when they closed the case for in-home services, DSS should not have been involved anymore. They should have been involved only to do in-home services, not to railroad my daughter and I and continue the abuse and allow Martha to continue to stay and unlawfully evict us and all that nonsense. This was 100% a setup, and they used the 911 calls of my sister, Mark, and my mother pretending to be like scared. Of course, they never said anything about an attempted kidnapping, but later on down the road, they said that I tried to kidnap my daughter from my mother's care. You see, they just kept changing the story. Nothing makes sense, but you can see right here, this was 100% fraud. They knew what was going to happen. They knew what they were going to do. And none of it was in my daughter's best interest. None of this. My daughter watched all of this go on. And she's involved, like they just abused the shit out of her. They're supposed to reduce adverse childhood experiences. And they put my daughter in they checked every single box for her. Put her in domestic violence, have her change schools, watch her mother get abused by the people who are supposed to protect her. So there you go. It's not rocket science. I could go on and on and on, and I will, about this case, because like I said, I have said from the beginning, I will not stop until I see a federal indictment. This is child abuse. This is child trafficking. This is like RICA, racketeering. This is multiple systems involved doing really terrible things to humans, children, parents, just people. It's not okay. And I can't look away. Now that I've experienced it and know about it, I can't look away from this. Who can look away from this? The people who are involved or who just don't want to get in trouble. But at the end of the day, these people took everything from me. I have nothing to lose, everything to gain, and I feel like it's my duty to make sure that I do something about it because I know about it. That's just how I am. When I know about bad things happening, like I have to do something about it. It's just, it is what it is. But the most important thing is putting these people in jail because this was fraud. This was misuse of taxpayer dollars. This was railroading. This was racketeering. This was child trafficking. This was child abuse. Because my family and Red and Emma paid for this to happen to my daughter and me. I let Red go years and years and years ago to protect my daughter from him. And the Department of Social Services got paid, along with these judges and lawyers and guardian ad litems, to bring his abusive ass back into my life, back into my daughter's life. And that goes along with my family too. My sisters, I ain't spoken to them in over a decade for a reason. But they were all invited back to wreak havoc and hell on my daughter and my life. And I could do nothing about it. My hands were tied. And of course, more Nike O'Malley and Mr. Underwood did nothing that they were supposed to do as attorneys.